Hi everybody, this is Lalit, and we're going to call this video Astrology in Action number one. This is our first video, and people will be able to join our class in the future and start with this video, which is going to be the basic introduction to how to understand your own chart. We're going to make this a short video, should be about 30 minutes, so I can get it posted for you as fast as possible. I was reading a quote from Mark Twain the other day, and I want to keep his quote in mind for the entire class. He said this: "I didn't have time to write you a short letter, so I just wrote you a long letter instead." Now, we all know what that means. Sometimes it's really easy to blab on and on infinitely about something, but it might be hard just to get to the crux or the center or the most important part of the information. So my job is to try to stay on track and explain things to you in the easiest, simplest way possible so that you really understand it in your heart. Not just a mental concept, but you go, wow, I get it now. So we're going to jump right in with the discussion about what is the ascendant anyway. You heard your ascendant is Scorpio or your ascendant is Sagittarius. What does that mean? You need to have an understanding of that. So I'm going to switch view because I have this handy dandy little device that allows me to show you my table here where I've put some things I'm going to share with you. Imagine that you are on the earth. And you're sitting up looking at the sky. Wait a minute, I'm going to switch back to my face. So you're looking up and you notice the sun's up in the sky and you kind of point, so imagine yourself outside where you live and you're looking at the sun and you say, well, I know it rose over in that direction. It came up over that mountain over there. That is the eastern horizon where the sun rises. That is what your ascendant is, the point in the sky where it hits the horizon, right where the sun would rise. That's where your ascendant appears in your sky map. Your astrology chart, dear ones, is actually what the old word for chart meant, which is map. It's your map. It is an exact map of everything that was up in the sky, that is all the sun, the moon, and the planets. And we do have some other things too, but we'll get to that at another time. So it's a map of the main features that are in the sky. This map is delineated by the horizon, like this. Now notice, this little ring around here is the zodiac sign. That's what the zodiac is. It used to conform to the star constellations, but it moves a little bit, tiny bit each day, so that every 2,000 years it's in a different place. So we don't measure the zodiac by the constellations of their name. We measure the zodiac just like I was telling you. You imagine where the earth, imagine this is the ruler is the horizon. The ruler is the horizon. All of this stuff is above the horizon. You can see it in daylight. And down below is the stuff that's under the earth that you cannot see. This little belt, which is the path that it appears that the sun is making. Now, we know the sun doesn't move there. It's actually the earth rotating. But that apparent path of the sun across the sky is the ecliptic, and that is where what the zodiac is. It's actually this little imaginary belt that marks the path of the sun each day. It's the belt around the sky, and it's a 36-degree circle. We make the starting point of that circle, is set for the equinox at spring. So if you're in the northern hemisphere, the equinox that will occur at the beginning of the Aries point, in the first day of spring, where the sun hits the sign of Aries. That is the point that we mark as the beginning of the zodiac. And that belt Here's Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. That 360-degree belt is divided into the 12 zodiac signs, and each one of them gets then 30 degrees of the sky. It's just that simple. So these are the divisions of that path of the sun. Astrologers call that the ecliptic. And that's what the zodiac is. It's divisions of the sky at the time you were born. Now, if you were born when Aries was at that ascendant point, then we say you're Aries rising. Okay? Now, let's make it, I made a little paper for Aries rising. So here's an Aries rising chart. If you are born with Aries rising, first day of spring, your sun is in Aries, and there it is. A couple of hours later, though, the sun has moved up in the sky, and let's say it's no longer sunrise. Sunrise might be 6 a.m. Here's 8 a.m. And your sun would be a little higher. It's entering the 11th house instead of being in the 12th. Couple more hours, 10 p.m., the sky's looking like that. The sun is higher, and you would have at noon this formation. Sun is straight overhead, and your rising sign would be over here, Cancer. If you were born at 2 p.m., the sun has made another rotation, and now you have Leo rising. Your sun is still in Aries. If you were born another couple hours later, a couple hours before sunset, let's say you're born at 6 p.m., you might be Virgo rising, and there's your sun in Aries, but your rising sign has changed to Virgo. Now, let's make you born at just before sunset. Here we are, sunset. This is called the descendant, this cardinal point. This is the ascendant, this is the descendant. If you're born with the sun over here, you're born at sunset, then your rising sign is the opposite, and it would be Aries. Excuse me, not Aries is rising, and Libra, which I'm pointing to, is your rising sign, and so forth. And that's what your ascendant is. You just look to the point that the sun would rise in the sky, draw an imaginary line out till it hits the zodiac, the ecliptic of the sun or pattern, and that is your rising sign. So if you were born, if you have an Aries sun and you're born at midnight, your sun would be down there. We call this the nadir or the imum cielo. At the bottom of the sky, it's in the dark. You wouldn't see the sun. It's midnight. And your rising sun over here is Capricorn. We have just mentioned the 4 cardinal directions, just like you have on a map. If you're looking at Google Maps, you will have east. This is the east for astrology, where the sun rises. This is the western point. This is overhead, the mediocello, the midheaven. This is down below, the imum cielo, and that's the midnight point. So some people are born with lots of planets that are visible in the day sky. And here are a couple of charts that I pulled out of people in class, and I have names hidden, so nobody, because I've asked permission and I haven't got that all straightened out yet, so I'm not going to have anyone be upset that I'm showing their chart without their purpose, but I'll tell you when this person was born. This person was born on April the 24th in a very good year, which is the year I was born, 1949. This person has their ascendant looking here. Their ascendant is Virgo. The midheaven is up here, and all these planets are in the light of day. A person who has most of their planets above, and this person does, only Neptune is below. If most of your planets, so it's one way you can look to understand yourself a little better. Are most of your planets above the horizon? That means, guess what? Just what is logical thinking? Your planets are in the light of day. You're more extroverted. You show your heart is on your sleeve. You know, people know who you are. You're a little bit extroverted, and more of the things in your life are out in the open. The one exception being the 12th house. This is where the sun is still just coming up off the horizon, and this is the house of hidden things. This person has Saturn and Pluto in the 12th house. That's a good sign of the hidden things. That is also spiritual things. Might be mediumship. When a planet is on any angle, though, these are think of the cardinal signs: rising, midheaven, descendant, or below. If any planet is on one of those angles, look at your own chart and see if you've got that. This person has Saturn. That makes Saturn one of the dominant features of this person's chart. Even though their sun is in Taurus, their ascendant is Virgo, Saturn is really important. And it's in the moon's, it's in the 12th house, and that's the house of Pisces, and moon is there. This is a person who is a natural medium and has a very lot of psychic ability. So anyway, their first lesson, look at your angles, the cardinal angles. These angles that we've marked here: ascendant, descendant, midheaven, and down below. Do you have anything in those places? They get extra points in strength, because the whole problem in astrology is learning how to put things together, how to see the big picture. I gave you a printout of your individual horoscope, but you're going to find things that conflict. Like one thing might say, oh, you have the moon in Pisces, you're extremely sensitive. But then you might have Saturn predominant in a sign like Capricorn. It says you're extremely practical and down to earth. Well, which are you? Are you really down to earth, or are you sensitive and dreamy? Well, the truth is people are not one-dimensional, and there are things that could conflict. Do persons have conflicts in their nature? Well, yes. Sometimes, everyone can see it in themselves. Sometimes you might feel dark and foreboding. Other days you may feel full of joy and a joie de vivre. You're ready to go. You're not a one-dimensional being or a cartoon flat, a two-dimensional person like Wile E. Coyote, who just spends his whole life chasing that roadrunner and nothing else. We have dimensionality, and astrology shows that for us. And some people show really complex variety, and other people show intense focus, and everybody's chart is different. So you want to start out by looking at the shape of things. How are things spread out? Here's another chart. This is a person born, just by coincidence, really. I picked some ones that I had printed. I picked kind of at random. This person is born July 6th, 1949, but that's just unusual. There's only a few people that are born in my birth year in the class, and I just happened to grab that. Anyway, you see a little different formation here. Planets are pretty well spread out. We have Jupiter here. It's under the horizon. We have the moon under the horizon, Neptune, Saturn, Pluto. These are hidden, and these ones are above. So this person has some above, some below. This is not a planet, it's the moon's node. But so notice the formation. Planets go from here to here. If your chart looks like this, in astrology we call this the drive wheel. It's a person who has their weight of their planets kind of dispersed, and then a big open quadrant here. This open quadrant is going 420 degrees of open. We call it a drive wheel because it mimics how the train is powered with wheels with a weight on it that makes it move forward, and it gives it power. So this is a powerful dynamic person with a lot of energy and the leading planet around the wheel. Remember that your planets move this way. This is the leading planet, that the first one to rise in the morning that this person was born was, guess what? Mars. Mars in Gemini with Mercury in Gemini and Uranus right behind. This is a powerful thinker, really creative mind, energetic, dynamic, thinking that is out of the box, and a lot of power. Leo rising, some fearlessness and etc. So this is, that's something that's very striking in this chart. So when you've had some experience looking at different things, it'll help you understand your own chart and how your chart maybe it's not what you've seen here, then you've learned you're not that. You're something else. And next lesson, we're going to be going in depth over the meaning of the shapes of different charts. But let's talk for one more minute about the basic setup. We talked about planets above the horizon being more open to vision, open to everyone to see, and below are the things that are sort of interior, and you're introverted, a little bit more introspective. Now, we have two other hemispheres. We have this hemisphere on the right, controlled by the descendant. This is the place where you look for relationships, like marriage, partnerships, and the way you deal with other people. And this whole quadrant, this hemisphere, we'll call it, if you have lots of planets over here, you're very focused on relationships and the way you deal with other people. Now, what if you have everything over here? This means you are very developing yourself. This doesn't mean necessarily you're a selfish person. We all have incarnations with different contracts that we have to fulfill. And in one life, you might be more centered on things that involve yourself, and the other times you might be working for the benefit of your partner or your children or your business relationships, or just humanitarian, like this is the house of service. You might be a nurse and dedicating yourself to other things. Over here, just because you're thinking and things about yourself doesn't mean you're selfish. What about a Nikola Tesla? He's intensely working with himself. I think he was very much a loner, but he was trying to do things that were the Uranian Aquarian way that would benefit all of humanity. So he was working for humanity by focusing his personal power to develop that urge. Okay, so look at your chart and see, where are your planets? Some people have them really bunched up in one little place. Some people have them all spread out and are more like well-balanced in all areas. Doesn't mean that one is better than the other. People are different, and you will learn to understand the thing in astrology that each individual is so unique and is on their own journey, and we can respect that and learn to understand other people and why they work, how they tick, because they might be really different than you are, and it's hard to understand, and you can get more understanding of people and be more sensitive to other people and why maybe they're not just like you. That's hard. That's a hard lesson for everybody. But the thing about astrology is a universal language, and we're going to be talking more about that. I'm going to quickly show you some handouts I'm going to send you. I want you to get a little notebook. I don't have my notebook here to show you my chart. I have all of my charts in one place for the class, and you're going to have place your chart. See if you can get a pocket protector, because we're going to write on the outside of your chart with this little on the sleeve, on the plastic. So we're going to write the current transits. Those are the current planetary positions that we are experiencing now, today. We're going to write that on your chart so you know what you are going through at this moment and why the heck am I feeling this way and what's going on. And I will tell you a little story about myself. I started doing astrology when I was, in 1969. I went to the Rosicrucian Fellowship in San Diego in Oceanside, where I was born, and I learned astrology in that year, and I've been loving it ever since. And we are just now at a place of transition for the entire planet. That is so intense. And I know we've all been feeling it. We're on a roller coaster ride. And I just want to say, in the general picture, we have not seen anything yet. If you think the past few years have been bad, we are entering a roller coaster, bumpy ride. And I had to get online so I could meet as many people as possible of the nice community that we have here on YouTube, so that I can help you understand what's happening, why, yes, you are going to make it through. And yes, at the end of the road, we are making a big transition as a planet and as humanity. So you can be better prepared for it. You can be happier. You can have less anxiety. And if you look at your birth chart along with me, we'll see the voyage that we're going through together. That is the global scene, and as an individual, how you fit on this package. So you can hold on to the saddle and don't get bucked off. That's the purpose here. Now, I promised I would keep it short, so I'm going to just give you a little bit of, show you what the things I'm sending you today. I'm sending this to everyone that signed up for a horoscope. By the way, a few people asked last night, like I quit around midnight doing charts, and I still have more to go. And I apologize if I didn't get to you. I really tried. Maybe if I hadn't done so many charts, because I did over 60 when I said I was going to do 50, maybe I would have got this live stream off in time, but maybe not. It's okay. I think things have worked out just fine, because we're going to have another show tomorrow at 3 o'clock with your questions. We'll tie up the loose ends, and you can ask me about these emails that you're going to get. Let me show you what I'm sending you, some presents. This is really cool. Everybody's going to get, here's the number one thing, symbols of the Zodiac. It has a little bit of introduction, the symbols, and you're going to have to practice writing these, and you're going to get some practice at this today, because it's a language. And you need to recognize the symbols of all the planets and of all the Zodiac signs. 4 key words for each sign that are very deep and profound and really capture the essence of it in the best way possible. Then you're going to get another handout for showing you the solar system, how it's set up, and all the symbols of all the planets and things we're going to be dealing with. And you'll need to be able to write each of these signs, and you're going to get some practice today. There are 4 key words for each of the planets, and these are beautiful. They're so powerful. Let's look at Neptune. Neptune's a mysterious planet. You might not know too much about it. The principle of Neptune is transcendence. The quality is vision or visionary, like spiritual psychics. This is it. Positive expression, idealism. Negative expression, escapism, i.e. drug use, etc. So that kind of sums up the essence of Neptune. So just look these over. You don't have to memorize all this stuff. Just keep it in your notebook so you can look at it for reference when you need it. So I'd like to mention, think of it like this. The planets each planet has an energy, a frequency, a vibration, and I'm doing those little meditations for you that will help you tune into that frequency. The meditations actually use the real frequency that the planet emits to help you tune in to that thing. But your planet, let's say you have Mars, you can easily picture that as red. Let's put it in a sign that's not red. Let's put it in Taurus. Let's say Mars is in Taurus. Taurus is more of a green earth sign, plants and vegetation. So what happens when you put a red light under a green filter? You get more of a brownish color. So your Mars in Taurus is different than a Mars energy filtered through Aries, where it stays the pure red light. In Taurus, it's changed. Does that make it better or worse? It's just different. So you'll learn that your Mars is different if you have Mars in Taurus. Then the question is, what house do you have it in? Now the houses, as you saw when we talked about the ascendant, are the divisions of the sky. And there are 12 of them, like little wedges of a pie. Now, I made this handout and I'm going to send it to you. I know it looks like really cluttered, but you're going to use it for reference. You're not going to memorize it. You're just, eventually it'll be natural to you because you'll have looked at it. But the 12 little divisions of the sky. So you'll want to look at your ascendant first, and you'll want to know what are the characteristics of the ascendant, because the houses are the physical manifestations on Earth of your daily life. So it's taking that energy of the planet. Let's use Mars in Taurus. Mars is aggressive and forceful, but Taurus is about harmony and gentle things and collecting things like money. So this person is expressing energy maybe towards getting money, and expressed through the self, the personality, the lens through which the rest of your chart is focused, your physical body, and your early childhood. So that Mars in Taurus is going to be seen mostly in your life in these areas of life. What if your Mars was in, let's see. No, all right, I said Mars in Taurus, so we'll look at it in the second house, which is the house of Taurus. If it's in the second house, we have possessions, money, abundance, basic security, desire to accumulate resources. This is a person who spends a lot of their personal energy in the pursuit of abundance and security. So your lesson might be, if your desire to accumulate resources has become too intense, maybe you need to balance yourself out with some other things. And that's the way the houses work. So look at your own chart, relationship to each planet in each sign, and where it's located, because where it's located shows you how it will manifest in the practical areas of daily life. So there's one other thing we need to talk about in your horoscope. So you have planets with energy. You have the filter through the zodiac, which changes the quality of that energy a little bit. Then you have these little lines here in the middle that you might not be able to see too well. Let me zoom in on it, see if I can get it to focus closer. In the center of the horoscope that I sent you, you'll notice there are these little lines that are connectors, and they're not focusing too well this close up. When I do it in the future, we'll do it through the computer, so the image will be very sharp and very clear. But notice these little lines. On the chart that I gave you, some are red with a little square on it. All the lines represent angular relationships of a certain geometry. Now, you don't need to be a mathematician, so you're going to see it in red with a square. That's a 90 degree, or red might be anything 90, 180, a square. Those are stressful characteristics. Stressful, they challenges, like in a tarot reading where you have challenges. So in this case, we have Leo with Saturn in Leo, and there's a square over here to Mercury. That means Saturn and Mercury are in a relationship of a square, because there's this red line connecting them. So in your chart, look for the red lines. That's where you have stress, aggravation, obstacles. In this case, Mercury, the mind, Saturn being the worry wart. This is a person who worries a lot. Needs to get some handle on that. And when it's being triggered, because there are moments that other planets are going by, zoom, zoom, zoom. The moon goes by every month. So this person will want to watch. When is the moon passing Mercury That would be, when does the moon in Taurus? In her case, that's when the worry warts start. So you plan ahead and say, tomorrow I'm going to worry and I want to worry, but I'm not going to let myself because I know it'll pass in a couple of days. That's how astrology is put in action in your own chart. So I want you to look at the red lines and notice this is where you have obstacles and challenges. The blue lines are where you have good fortune, ease, and success. Things flow naturally. Now, we say, why don't I have a chart all natural stuff? Everything's happening easy. Well, if you did, you wouldn't have any backbone or grit or character. So you need the challenges. We're born here on earth. We didn't born to get an easy life. I mean, maybe someone incarnates as a Shah or something and they're carried around and waited on by servants all day, don't have to do anything. But, you know, that person doesn't really have a happy life. Believe it or not, it's true. So there you have it. I'm going to talk to you a minute. To sum it up, you have the planets giving the basic energy. The sign is like the filter of light that colors that energy, and then you have it in the house where it's made manifest with the aspects or angles that tell you whether it's going to be an easy road, ease on down the road, like in The Wiz where you're skipping along, everything's great down the yellow brick road, or boom, you hit your head against the brick wall. So those are the red lines. Everybody has some of both. So the object is to figure out what's happening there and know how to prepare yourself and to see the big picture from, zoom yourself 1,000 feet up and see yourself and imagine what's really important and what's less important. Okay, just a couple more minutes to go. I don't know if this is enough time to explain it, but I'm going to give it a try. And if you don't get it, we're going to talk about this more tomorrow. Here's another handout you're going to get. Now, this has the same kind of basic look to it as the other stuff. Here's the ascendant, and it naturally would be Aries, and Mars is its ruler. These are called planetary rulerships. You'll use this for reference for the rest of your life. You will not understand all of it today. Don't even try. Don't worry. Don't just look at one little thing and try to figure it out. Okay, here's Aries. It's a fire sign. It's cardinal. Remember how we said the axis is the four axes, the east, the west, the top, and the bottom. Those are the cardinal signs. Here they are. Cardinal, 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 cardinal. Now, after each cardinal sign comes a fixed sign. That's where we focus on and stabilize and build up the things that we started in the cardinal phase. It's called a fixed sign. People with fixed signs have lots of willpower, grit, stability, and determination. I've written all these things down for you. You don't need to remember. Tendency to stubbornness is a negative part. Not too open to change or new ideas sometimes, unless you're an Aquarius. So that's what it means if you have lots of fixed signs, People call me that, hard-headed. I've been called that a lot. Well, everybody has some of that. I have my share. So if you have lots of planets in mutable signs, you have versatility, maybe a restless mind. You have changeability, and you're interested in ideas more than in materialism. So it's good to see what you have what is your preponderance. So I'm sending you this little chart, and I want you to use this, take this out, and put your horoscope right next to it. And look on your own horoscope. Let's pretend that your ascendant is Aries. Let's just pretend, because we talked about that already. Aries is a fire sign. Here are the four choices: fire, earth, air, or water. And that's on that little chart that you have. It's written cardinal, fire, and plus. Those are the three things you're going to enter on this chart. So if you have this ascendant, you're going to enter cardinal, fire, and plus. This means that it's a masculine energy or positive energy. A negative would be a feminine energy. So if your ascendant is Aries, you're going to find the column for fire right here and write ascendant. This is where your ascendant is. Your ascendant is not earth, it's not air, it's not water, it's fire. So write it here, and you'll write once in each group. So you'll write once is fire. Now Aries is cardinal, so you'll write ascendants in this group. Ascendant. You're not fixed and you're not mutable. You're cardinal. So write ascendant there. And you are going to write it once in this group of two things. You're positive. Write ascendant here. So you write it once in each group. You have 4 choices here to make. You pick one. That's a quadruplicity in astrology. Here you have 3 choices. This is a triplicity, we call it, because there's 3 things to choose from. So your ascendant will be fire, cardinal, plus, let's pretend your sun is in Taurus, because we talked about that. So we'll put your sun is in an earth sign. How do you know? Because you're looking here. Taurus is earth, fixed, and it's negative. So if your sun is here, that's its character. It's being fixed, earth, and water. So you'll write your sun, earth, right there. Write the symbol for the sun. I mean, actually write it. So put sun. My sun is an earth sign. It's not cardinal. It's fixed because it's in Taurus, which is fixed. It is not positive because Taurus has the minus. So that's how you would check your sun sign. You can put this on many times to look at it. So if your sun is in Taurus, here's Taurus, it's fixed, earth, negative, okay? Now, what you're going to do at the end, you're going to get a view. Your chart will be clear to you like it never has been because you're going to tally up at the bottom each column. You'll say, how many fire signs did I have? Whoa, boy, I had 5 things in fire. Let's just pretend. You say, how many things do I have in earth? Well, I had 2. And how many water? 0. Wow. And in air, I have 4. Well, it looks, you can see right away that you've got lots of fire, a little bit of earth for grounding. So you've got a lot of energy. Earth, a little bit grounding. Air, you're good at thinking a lot, but maybe your emotional side is lacking because what you don't have is just as important as what you do have. So I want you to tally up each column and get a feeling for how your chart measures up. What is the preponderance of things you have? And I have some clues here. If you have lots of cardinal planets, you're energetic, active, have initiative, outgoing, starting new action is your thing. If you have lots of fixed signs, you're that. Likewise, if you don't have any fixed signs, you're missing some of this. Hey, are you all air and fire? You're missing willpower, stability, and determination. You're not stubborn. You don't go for it until you're done. You give up, go to something else. So you're going to do your chart, enter all these things for each. There are, how many of these? 1, 2, 3, 4. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. You're going to enter all of those and tally it up at the bottom, see what you get in each category, and you're going to understand your horoscope more than you ever have before. Just take a step back and honestly take a look at your talents, your tendencies, and what's going on in these areas, and then you will have a better understanding. And I'm going to see you guys tomorrow at 3 p.m. live. You can send me questions and comments, and if you haven't got your chart yet, I will get it to you tonight, I promise, and all of you are going to get the handouts soon. Love you all. And I really apologize about the little thing that happened with live today. But Mercury's retrograde, we knew it, so we got to laugh and say, all right, we got to learn, make the most out of it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. We get an extra day together, 3 p.m. Love you all. Thank you so much.